Hello, guys, and welcome back to Joe's Ventures. In today, I know I've been a bit slack with the Saurian Devlog updates, but I thought since we've got two on the go and probably one coming at the end of the month, may as well make a couple videos about them. Since I've been doing a lot of the Jurassic World Evolution 1 and 2 modding and other things like that, I'm really pumping them out. So let's get started with Saurian Devlog 105 and then move on to 106. Wonderful. So, hello everyone. For those who missed it, the second edition of our book was released earlier this month. This will be back in November, I believe, or October. If you're interested to get your hands on some gorgeous Saurian art, you can get your own here, so that's good. This month we've been working away at the mating and courtship systems, so let's have a talk about it. So that's really, really awesome. So if you want to get the second edition of the Field Guide to Hell Creek, obviously you can go get that done. It's a hardcover version now, and there's been a couple changes, but really, really nice. So let's start with Henry. So Henry said, this month I started working on the AI for courting/courted NPCs. As it stands, this new chunk of AI behavior is actually pretty simple. AI now has additional way to perceive other animals in addition to threat or friend, courter. So that's what it seems to be the new one. When the AI perceives a player as a courter, either randomly or spawned in response to a player call, and unlocks a new branch of AI behavior that will be prioritized singly above normal social interactions when possible. So that's a little bit of how it works. This new set of behaviors is currently made up of two main stages, courtship initiation and courtship success. In courtship initiation, the AI will either react to your courtship advances or make its own. If you fail, the AI will abort the courtship behavior. So if you succeed, the AI goes into a special honeymoon state and stays close to you and wait for you to assemble the nest and start making babies. Wonderful. So this is really going to be adding a lot of gameplay. So you can have like a little court thing and have to woo the female or the male depending on whatever gender or sex your dinosaur is playing as. So that's really, really awesome. And on the other side of that, you'll transition into the normal existing social system for egg rearing, and your mate will now be either a herd mate or a family. So that's really cool. I'll probably add some special logic to make adult animals stick a bit closer to the nest than they currently do when eggs are present, and I'm looking towards to try and add some new types of dynamic spawning criteria to get some threats for them eggs. Oh, that's going to be a little bit more gameplay. So you can see the threats, so you have to defend your eggs as well. The female or the other dinosaur you've bred with will hang around the nest if that's kind of your ecology. So that's also awesome. Really just adding a whole bunch of new gameplay, because really that's kind of the thing I think this is focused on, adding a new gameplay element, which is obviously breeding and reproduction, which I think will add a lot of gameplay to the female side. So if you want to play a female who's not just growing up, you have to lay eggs and court and things like that and build nests. I think that's going to really add a unique gameplay for both. Instead of just being a male and defending like that. I think it's really going to be interesting and add to gameplay, since basically each sex has a different gameplay mode. So that's really cool. But now we've got also by Ale. So really, really wonderfully. Last devlog, I mentioned we had a solution in mind for the circumvent animating dinosaur mating, and now it's time to talk about it. So in order to reduce the workload on our animators and allow them to dedicate more time into animating our new T-Rex model, ooh, that's going to be fun, we opted for a lightweight cinematic approach. We'll be adding a transitional cutscene to convey the idea of mating without actually showing it. This approach gives us the added benefit of allowing us to load and place the eggs in nesting/roosting system will come into play once mating is successful. So here is the first version of it. So you're going to run do your thing. Stand. Call, yeah. Your cutscene. There's a nest, and then you sit on it. Really cool little animation, I think. And there looks like the other one there, male and female. Really, really awesome. I like that. And assets and animations are placeholders and subject to change. So really, the game's not going to look like that. But that kind of gives you an idea of what it would be like instead of having graphic mating animations, which I think most of us don't want. So really, really interesting. So the cinematic is in the initial stages right now. We still have to figure out framing, timing, transitions, and change the animations. But but the general idea is there, so I think it looks really cool. The biggest thing I wanted out of these cutscenes was to keep the transitions between cutscene and gameplay smooth, and I think I'm really close to that thanks to the Cinema Machine and a little bit of code work. So yeah, I'm a big fan of how that is. I think it just needs a little bit more tweaking and such, and that'll be really, really cute. It'd be cool to have some animations of the one sitting on the egg as well. It could be like warming up the eggs, doing like that shuffle like the kestrels do. Something like that could be really, really cute. Just some idle animations. And I also designed the system to be able to take, play, and control any mating cinematic we have in mind, regardless for species, and length as a way to encourage it to make different cinematics for different species. So that's really cool. So you can have one different one for Triceratops, different one for T-Rex, different one for Anzu, and different one for Anki. So I think that would be really, really cool. You can have some different play around, maybe have one snuggling, and I think that'd be really, really awesome. Note the cinematics will not be wildly different from each other, but at least want to make them distinct and reflect on the species a little bit. So that's really, really cool. And the backbone of the system are Unity-built timeline and Cinemachine systems. The people that joined into our impromptu live stream last week, I remember when that was quite fun, might remember me fiddling around with the timeline and working on the cutscene for another system. I highly recommend other devs to give them a shot. I've had a lot of fun with them. So that's really, really cool. See a little bit more gameplay. I believe the plan is to kind of have gameplay in terms of mating and stuff come out before Tyrannosaurus. So I think that's really, really cool. And for 105, so I believe this would have been for October. So we're going to have the community spotlight. So this was done by Carrie Lazul and Saurian, the Dark Art Collection. I really like that. The trike goes well. Anki, I like that. Another screenshot from Clistelate, I believe you pronounced that. Herd of Edmontosaurus or Anatosaurus, really looks wonderful. And I really like the sketch by Enby. A really nice sketch of the Hell Creek Quetz. Really, really awesome. Quetz Spur should be the technical term, and I think it really fits well. So yeah, no comments on this one. So this is 105. We're going to move on to 106. So that'll be very, very interesting. Let's see how that goes. There we are. November 22nd. So this is the November one. So Saurian Devlog 106. So to those who celebrated a happy Thanksgiving. I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving, but really, really awesome. We've come to you today with an egg-themed devlog, both in content and in puns. I'm so sorry. Well, you gotta make a few puns. How can you not make a few puns? So let's get right into it. Maybe you gotta get it to crack the shell or something like that. So Henry's going to be starting again. As of late, I've been working on developing threats for eggs during the nesting phase. Since eggs need to be treated differently than entire animals or food by AI, I've had to flesh out the AI a little bit more to handle them. First, I've had to set up a new type of perception for AI interactable objects. For the time being, I'm only using this for eggs, but eventually could be expanded to other objects in the world that we might want AI to interact with. That could be very, very cool. If you want to see AI responding to trees and things like that, I think that'd be very awesome. If I ever get a chance, I'd want to use this for helping AI help assemble nests using found materials as well, for example. So that would be really, really cool. I really love the idea of like building a nest. It'd be a really cool gameplay mechanic. Next, I had to integrate logic for handling perceptions of eggs into behavior in the AI. I decided to introduce it as a branch of the AI's general needs behavior, since that way it wouldn't require additional balancing against other precepts such as animals. But this will lead to some complications in terms of getting desired behavior. I've also had to add some modifications to the eating attacking ability to allow the AI to target eggs. So just a little bit of changes that he's made just to help it work better. And the final step, we'll be able to create a new module for the dynamic spawn system, which spawns Archaeoraptor and possibly other small predators to attack the eggs. So that's really, really cool. I'll likely want to do some further behavior overriding them to make them bolder when attacking eggs for the sake of making them a more visible threat to their natural, more cautious demeanor around large animals like Triceratops, so they'll sneak in. They probably think it's a benefit, free lunch if you manage to sneak in and avoid Big Mama Trike doing that. I think that'd be really cool. It'd be cool to have other animals like Delphodon, I think would be really awesome. Maybe Pectinodon as well. I think those could be really cool. Just really, Paleosanoa is another cool example. Just animals that'll come and try and steal your eggs, so you got to protect them. And yeah, I think that'd be really cool for gameplay. So you got to monitor your eggs and make sure that they don't get eaten, especially if you're playing as a female, or potentially if you're doing like the ratite type behavior male. So the male will hang out with the eggs and make sure that the animals, the little eggs, won't get eaten. So that's really cool. And to carry on, I haven't had much time to flesh out this particular AI functionality as much as I would have liked, but I'm hoping I'm hitting enough bases to make the egg rearing a bit more of an active task, assuming you want to see all your eggs hatch. So I think that's really, really cool. I think that's one thing the game's really been lacking, like something to kind of work towards. You kind of just get adult and then what now? Now you can breed and produce babies, and it's something to monitor and really adds gameplay to it just by existing, really. So I think that's really, really cool. So next we're going to move on to Ale, coming back again. So while we were planning out egg care, nest protection, and roosting, we came up with the question of how can we let the player check the status of the eggs in their nest? And I'm excited to present the solution we came up with. Of course we did. Another good pun. So since we already have an outline shader we use to help players scout critters and identify members of the herd, we decided to make them use that shader for our eggs. That's a really, really cute. So warm eggs will range from orange to red, so that looks quite warm. Clearly, Mama Dakota's been sitting on them really, really wonderfully. And we've been using the shader to give the player a quick way to check the status of their eggs. The color will change depending on their temperature and viability. Live eggs will change color from a gradient that goes from blue to red, approaching blue when they are cold and moving towards red when the nest has been warmed up by either roosting or changing the nest composition. So it'll be interesting in terms of gameplay. Like, obviously an adult Triceratops is not going to be able to sit on its egg, so it most likely would have to change things to better change the temperature for the babies, also with the Raptor being sitting on the eggs and things like that. And plus it's really plastic for different species, since we know that oviraptors like Anzu would have like arranged the eggs. Maybe you could have something with a particular arrangement. And I think there's really a lot of gameplay that could be species unique within each one based on a simple mechanic. So I think that's really, really cool. And cold eggs, you can see, will range from purple to blue, so don't get them scrambled. So you don't want to get cold, because that could kill the babies inside, and we do really want that. So you can see this one's been left a little bit. Really, really cool mechanic, though, I think. So once you've now you'll notice I mentioned only live eggs will change color. That's because non-viable eggs will only show up as gray. So I believe that's either unfertile or dead. So a dead egg is a sad egg, and that's no yolk. I'm glad Ali's really come out of her shell with these puns. I think that's really wonderful. So if you fail to protect your eggs from predation or other dangers, or let them stay cold for too long, the eggs will become non-viable, and when the time comes, not hatching when they spawn from them. So if you want to have a full family, you need to have excellent care for your young. Even before they are born, the work of a parent never ends. I think a lot of our parents would agree with that. A really, really wonderful mechanic. I think that really will add a lot of gameplay to it. And moving on, we got Zane coming back for a little bit. So, as you might have guessed already, this week's theme is all about eggs. And with the inclusion of these little embryo containers, we have to think about how to render them. As eggs will eventually break, successful or not, we need a way to render both the outer protective shell as well as the insides of them at a given time, while being able to have a crack open without too many resources or bespoke meshes. So the simple shader working on a simple mesh should do the trick. So first off, we needed a way to differentiate between the outer and the inner side of the shell, where we want to give both sides a different material within the same shader. In order to achieve this with a single mesh, I disabled the hardware back-facing culling for this specific shader and differentiated between the two materials based on the object's surface normal, so the direction that the polygon is facing. And in in the case of the egg mesh, each face will have of the shell points outwards, so you can see that there. All there is left to do is test whether or not a polygon is facing towards the camera outer shell, away from camera inner shell. So this is the whole egg. Really, really beautiful egg. It really looks like a Dakota Raptor egg. It'd be really cool to see all the different types of eggs that you see on a Tyrannosaur egg versus a Triceratops egg, because it's very likely that Triceratops potentially had like a leathery egg, so something like a snake or a lizard, so I think that'd be really, really cool. Really play with that as well. So next, we need the egg to crack open dynamically without swapping any meshes. This was done by simple alpha testing, where each individual pixel is tested amongst a threshold value that either appears completely transparent or opaque, which is then driven by both a texture that resembles a cracked shell and a simple value denoting the progression of amount of cracking that can be set during runtime. So the translucent pixels give us the insight into the well inside the egg. So you see the broken egg here, you'd probably see a baby. And all in all, this has been a pretty simple shader, so it doesn't take long to crack it down. But for now, that's it, yolks. Yep. And hope you enjoyed your little excursion into the Shaderland, and I wish you a happy Friday. I really like all these puns. You know, I'm very much a punny guy, so I do enjoy all these egg puns. So we're going to move on now from the community spotlight, and this nice one, Raven, the Ghost of Sauna. I really like this one, the nice big male Triceratops sitting there. It's a really aesthetic screenshot. You got another one at 11 screaming at the Paleocenoa. That's relatable. And the last one by Iscloma Estapik, I believe how you pronounce that. We have got managed to kill a subadult Triceratops by the looks of it in the wetlands. Looks really, really wonderful as they sit and potentially enjoy their kill. So that is another really, really awesome update as well. We probably have one coming for December soon, so I'll cover that. But there we got 2 in 1, so that's really, really awesome. I'm thinking about which ones will be good for a what's the word? Thumbnail, yeah. But yeah, I think this is a good place to end here, so I will move up to this one. I'll say I really, really, really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys like and subscribe. Always remember to click the little bell icon to get notified when I upload anything. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys like and subscribe, and bye-bye.